Somebody entered our Airbnb twice while we were sleeping in Miami. I just need y'all help. Tag Airbnb, tag your best friend, tag whoever you need to tag, but get this story out there.
I hate Airbnb. I've probably booked 2 total in my life. According to my account, I guess I've literally booked 2, one in 2018 or 2019 and one this year, 2 weeks ago.
For years, Airbnb was sold to us as a better alternative to hotels. But now people all over the country are saying their stays have turned into a complete nightmare. And if you're not careful, you could be the next regret story. What happens when your dream vacation turns into a nightmare? Let's find out.
Since my Airbnb host is lying about having roaches in her house, I figure I'd come on TikTok and I'll show y'all the roaches because Airbnb used wrong for this. Now, and let me say, I have receipts for everything out for the summer. Y'all, the first night, we were like, oh, this place is so nice. The next morning, we woke up filthy. Literally, the couches were stained. It was bugs everywhere. And let me take y'all back. The first night, my aunt came and saw that the Airbnb was not clean when she checked in. She went to Walmart to buy cleaning supplies, and I guess she reported it to Airbnb. So Airbnb reached out to the host and was like, hey, you got a guest, and they're saying this house not clean. The lady locked us out of the Airbnb because we told Airbnb the house wasn't clean. And I know what y'all thinking. Why didn't we leave? Guys, we opened the cabinets like the second night there. That's when we seen the buzz, and that's when we reported them to Airbnb. Would y'all believe this lady called us everything but a child of God? Like, I can't believe she called us liars, called us simple-minded. But as y'all can see in this video, it's roaches everywhere. I need y'all to tag Airbnb in the comments because we are still fighting this case, and y'all can clearly see this is not normal wear and tear. This is a filthy Airbnb, and they need to do something about this. And I also got screenshots of how the lady was talking to us.
First of all, I would have walked out of that house within 5 minutes of seeing a roach. This isn't just the place wasn't clean. Roaches and filth turned this into a health issue and not a preference issue. What really stands out is how fast things escalated once they reported it, instead of the host trying to fix it. Locking guests out after a complaint is a massive red flag to me because now it's almost like retaliation. And this is where Airbnb disputes could potentially get dangerous because sometimes the leverage shifts away from the guest to the host. Even with receipts and videos, some guests still end up fighting just to be taken seriously. So what would you do if you were in this situation? Let me know. A lot of people value the security of hotels, and this next clip shows why.
Now that I'm back home, let me tell y'all what happened. So I don't like Airbnbs, right? It's just not my thing. I be feeling weird about staying at somebody's house because essentially it's somebody's house. Whatever. Anywho, I don't like Airbnbs. But anyway, I was going to the concert, the YB concert, with my brother, my brother's girlfriend, and my sister. So I was like, it just made more sense for me to just get an Airbnb and we all could just stay there. Boom. So I get an Airbnb. So y'all, I'm already feeling weird about it. But then tell me why somebody knocks on the door of this Airbnb at 2:30 a.m. And I'm like, okay, so I'm a very light sleeper. I heard everything. So I heard it. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, maybe it's them knocking on the next door neighbors. Because it was like a condo set up, like, or whatever. So I'm like, maybe they knocking on the other door and I could just hear it because my ears big as hell. No, they knock again. So I'm like, what the hell? Like, what the hell going on? So I called my brother. I'm like, I called him. He don't answer the phone. I called right back. I'm like, you need to go check the door. Somebody at the door. Like, somebody knocking on the door. He like, what? I'm like, yeah, somebody knocking at the door. Y'all, why I see some lights flashing in the window of the bedroom that I'm in. Just flashing in the window. I'm like, yeah, somebody got some lights in the window. Like, go see what's up. And honestly, you know what I'm saying? This the wrong Airbnb. We done came from Memphis. You know what's in here. You know what's up in here. Come on with it. Come on. If you want to do so, let's do it. Okay? But anyways, yeah, so then my brother, he go check, and nobody out there.
This is the part that would have messed with me too, because nothing technically happened, but everything feels wrong. Someone knocking at 2 a.m. and the lights flashing and nobody is there. That uncertainty is very unsettling. But once you start questioning who's outside or who has access when you're at an Airbnb, your sense of safety is completely gone. And that's the part some people don't think about when they book. How fast comfort can turn to anxiety. So I totally understand why she's not a fan of Airbnb. However, it sounds like if there was an issue, she had protection. But would this be enough for you to leave immediately, or would you try to shake it off and just enjoy the stay as much as you could? If Airbnb ever felt like a part-time job to you as a guest, pay attention to this next clip.
I hate Airbnb. I probably booked 2 total in my life. According to my account, I guess I've literally booked 2, one in 2018 or 2019 and one this year, 2 weeks ago. And now I'm in an active mediation with an Airbnb owner about $119 in cleaning fees that she's trying to charge me, which I don't accept. I'm not paying them. And we can talk all day about it, but I'm not paying them. So basically, I declined her request for additional cleaning fees because you are out of your rabbit ass mind. So number one, she tried to say that we broke this $5 5 and below lamp that is not broken. Number one, I have a video of my room that I stayed in when we left out, and those lamps are sitting there untouched. So where did they get broken at if my last video is of them sitting there perfectly fine? And by broken, I mean the top of the lamp like thing, and by lamp, that's also a strong word. Basically the top of this lamp has like a little like plastic thing over where the light bulb would be at, but mind you, there's no light bulb in this lamp. That's why I said lamp is a strong word, and it's a cheap lamp, and you could tell because if any lamp that you pay some money for, it has a light bulb in it. Stop playing with me. So anyway, the top of this thing that's supposed to protect where the light bulb is at, that's not there, was slid over in her picture, and she says it's broken. We did not touch that lamp, and by the way, just put it back. Stop playing with me. Like, you literally just did that to try to get some extra money. Okay. Second, she tries to say that we damaged her towel that goes on the floor outside of the shower. I stepped on that towel with my house shoe, and there was like a little like print of like the bottom of my house shoe, and it's literally a house shoe, and that's the damage that she's saying that we need to replace her towels with.
So this is where a lot of Airbnb regret actually starts after the stay is over. I mean, we leave thinking that everything is fine, and then out of nowhere, if you have the wrong host, these random charges start popping up. And notice how the small everyday things are suddenly being framed as actual damage. I mean, at that point, you're not debating facts anymore. You're debating someone else's interpretation of basic things like using a towel or using a dish or using the refrigerator. And in my opinion, I think the host is being super petty, and it feels like a money grab. It's still early, but let me know, are you team hotel or team Airbnb? Which do you prefer? So if you thought that was bad, it gets worse. But first, I need you to hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to get better at real estate, you got to follow this channel.
Put that in the washer and stop playing with me. Like, literally. Okay. Then she tried to say we damaged her washcloth. Her washcloth that I set my sponge on, that I literally do my makeup with. On top of that, like, I didn't wipe my face with this washcloth and wipe my makeup off with it. No, it's literally like a outline of a sponge on top of this washcloth with a little bit of makeup on it. Is that not so stingy, so greedy? Like, nobody damaged your towel. Put it in the washer. Like, you have to anyway. Like, and so then she tried to say that we also that we owe her $50 cleaning fee for the inside of the refrigerator. Now, I will admit, one of my friends pissed me off, left her food inside of the refrigerator, even though I told everybody to empty out the refrigerator. Okay, whatever. She left the food in there. There were yams in there. Apparently, the yams spilled over, and there was yam juice in the refrigerator, and that's a $50 cleaning fee. Okay, first of all, when we left, by the way, she literally said that food was not tipped over. So in my mind, if you broke your own lamp to try to make it seem like we broke your lamp, then it's not above you to spill some food in the refrigerator that we left and try to say, oh, we left your refrigerator damaged. First of all, take a freaking Clorox wipe and wipe that up. Stop trying to act like it's $50. Like, you were already gonna have to get it made. Stop playing. Okay, whatever. Then she tried to say that because we didn't leave the trash, because one of her instructions were that we had to take the bins out to the curb on Sunday before we left, and we needed to take all the trash from inside the house and put it inside of those bins. Okay, well, when it was time for me to find those bins that she said were in the garage, I literally could not find these bins.
So this is where it starts to snowball. It's not just one claim. It's the lamp, it's a towel, it's a washcloth, it's the fridge, it's the trash. And at this rate, the host should have put in the description that the guest needs to deep clean the house, do the laundry, and then pay them by the hour. I mean, come on. And the thing is, once you've checked out, there's typically not a walkthrough, and there's no third party to verify things in the moment. And again, I think this host is really trying to take advantage of the situation. Should she just let it go though and simply pay the fees and move on? Let me know what your thoughts are. So what happens when things inside of an Airbnb go missing with no explanation? Let's check it out.
Somebody entered our Airbnb twice while we were sleeping in Miami. I just need y'all help. Tag Airbnb, tag your best friend, tag whoever you need to tag, but get this story out there. So me and my homegirl checked into our Airbnb on Friday in Brickell. I took off my Apple Watch and I put it on the bathroom counter because it didn't match my outfit, and I didn't touch it after that. It was sitting in the same place. It had never moved or nothing. So now I'm looking for my Apple Watch everywhere because it's nowhere to be found. Mind you, I put it in this one spot and me and my friend seen it the whole time, and now all of a sudden it's gone. Mind you, I woke up at 4 a.m. the first day we stayed there, and the front door was wide open to the apartment, and I didn't understand why the door was open. I'm like, okay, well maybe the door's whatever, because it was hard for us to get in the apartment in the first place when we first checked in. So I looked around, I didn't see nobody. I went ahead and I locked the door. I let my homegirls know the next morning, like, hey, we gotta make sure we keep this door locked because it was open. Like, you know, I thought that was weird. So they're like, okay, you know, we gonna make sure we lock the door. So after that, we made sure we locked the door every time. It happened again. The door was open again, but we made sure we locked the door, so we thought that was weird as hell because why is it open if we made sure we locked it? So now I'm trying to find my Apple Watch. I can't find it nowhere. I think that's weird because it's been in the same spot. Why all of a sudden is it missing? On top of that, I have pictures of the Airbnb and it was not the cleanest. So now me and my homegirls are tearing this apartment up because we're trying to find my Apple Watch. Where is it? I'm not coming back to Michigan without it. We looked everywhere. I cleaned the apartment that night. I couldn't find it. I contacted the host of Airbnb. Mind y'all, she told me to contact her directly. She gave me her direct number. So I didn't message her through Airbnb because she takes forever to respond. I called her phone. Straight up, call her phone. I let her know what was going on with the lock and everything and the dirtiness. I told her everything, and she told me that she had to replace the lock a couple months ago because it was messed up, so she's not sure why it's messed up. Also, she said me and her are the only people who have access to the apartment. She can unlock the apartment door from her phone, and I can use the key or the key fob. Okay, weird. Because I automatically am suspect of you because what do you mean we are the only people that can unlock it? I didn't let nobody in this. So did you?
All right, so this is where things stop being annoying and start feeling scary. A door randomly opening and personal property going missing changes everything because now you're replaying moments in your head. You're wondering when it happened and who could have done it. And when the host says that they can unlock the door remotely, in a situation like this, that can raise even more questions. And at that point, you're not thinking about the money anymore. You're thinking about safety. And so I completely understand her frustration because she should feel safe. But do you think she's overreacting to this whole situation? Let me know your thoughts. Now let's see if there was an actual resolution.
She like, keep looking for it. Mind you, I have a 7 a.m. flight the next day. She like, keep looking for it, and if you can't find it, go ahead and call the police or whatever. Now I'm in Miami. I don't know nobody here. I don't know the surroundings. I'm scared. I don't know what's going on. I'm not automatically thinking, oh my God, somebody came in here. But when my missing, I was like, oh yeah, somebody got in this. The next morning we woke up. Mind you, I cleaned the apartment the night before. The next morning we woke up. I'm making sure we got everything. I'm looking around. All of a sudden, my Apple Watch is deep behind the refrigerator, like by the refrigerator, and there's a top for a pot on top of it, like it was hidden. Like somebody hid it there. Mind you, that wasn't there the night before. Like I said, I cleaned up. I'm not no dumb bitch. So automatically, I know somebody came in again. Somebody came and got it because the door was wide open, and then the door was messed up. Wait, let me tell y'all, because the night before, the key fob part where she can unlock the door from her phone was locked. Why was it locked? We didn't check out until the next day. Why are you in the app unlocking and locking anything? Exactly because you let somebody come in here. So yes, this is a safety issue. I called Airbnb. I let them know what was going on. They said they would have to talk to her about it. She wrote me this long message talking about you called me 48 hours, blah, blah, blah. You let somebody in this goddamn apartment. I'm trying to report this safety issue. They're telling me I have to request a refund before I can do anything. I did that. She denied the refund. Okay.
This part is frustrating because this is where people expect help. They report a safety issue, and instead it turns into a procedural back and forth situation. And you can hear how powerless she feels. It's like the platform matters than what actually happened. And when the refund gets denied, it feels like the door closes completely. That's usually the moment people decide they're done with Airbnb. And one thing to keep in mind is to never message a host outside of the app because Airbnb is not going to help you with anything off of the platform. But in spite of that, do you think Airbnb should have forced the host to provide a refund? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So what happens when you get a rude awakening while traveling for work? Let's take a look.
This is the downside of travel nursing, is that you don't always get to see where you're going to live before you get there. And yeah, this Airbnb looks okay, right? Look at the outside. Literally looks like a junk yard. I had to leave in one day because I could not stay here overnight. They had mold, they had no AC, they had no lights. It was a crap show.
So this clip shows the risk of booking somewhere you can't see first, and that is the Airbnb experience. And it's not uncommon to arrive in an Airbnb that looks completely different from the photos online. This host should be ashamed that they put this garbage on Airbnb. I've experienced this myself, and it's very disappointing. I remember years ago going to an Airbnb with a bunch of my friends in Boston, and it was pretty filthy, but it was a bunch of us there. We had no other choice, so we just stayed there, and I, left a review accordingly. But overall, it was not a great experience because what we saw on the photos didn't match the experience that we had. Mold, no AC, no lights, those aren't inconveniences. Those are deal breakers and basic things that an Airbnb should have taken care of. And when you're traveling for work, you don't always have the luxury of backing out easily, although I'm sure she probably ended up getting a hotel. If you've tried Airbnb multiple times and you just can't do it, pay attention to this last clip.
Unpopular opinion, but I hate Airbnbs. I've tried it, I've tried to like it, and times where I'm like frugal, especially like times where I'm traveling a lot and I just don't have like the right amount of money to get the hotels I'm used to anymore. I'm like, okay, let me just get an Airbnb. Horrible, horrible. I absolutely hated every experience I've had with an Airbnb. Like there's always something, either the code is not working, either I feel weird, or either like the person knows what the I don't know. There's always something. There's always something. I absolutely hate them. I will not be doing it. I will always spend my last dollar for a hotel. I don't care. I hate to sound like that person, but I do care about where I stay. And let's not even get to like vacation. This is why I personally like traveling either with me, myself, a partner, or my two best friends. Those are the only people I travel with, because I'm not gonna sit here and talk to you about why I'm not doing an Airbnb. And then you're not gonna tell me, oh, like, let's just go to this hotel. We're only sleeping at the hotel. I care about where I'm sleeping. I'm sorry. Like, I've tried really, really hard to be understanding when traveling with others, but no, I'm sorry, I can't do it.
So this clip feels different because she's not reacting to one bad stay. She's talking about a pattern in her experiences. She says things like there's always something, and that's the key part that a lot of us relate to. And even when she books an Airbnb to save money, the stress and discomfort cancel out the savings. So what she's really saying is she cares about where she sleeps, feeling safe, comfortable, and at ease, like anybody else. At that point, hotels aren't about luxury anymore. They're about peace of mind. So at the end of the day, none of these people booked an Airbnb expecting any of this stuff to happen. They weren't trying to be difficult. They weren't looking for problems. They just wanted a decent place to stay so they can enjoy themselves. But what all of these clips show is how quickly things can spiral. It starts with something small, then it turns into a dispute, then stress, and sometimes a real safety concern. And once you're checked in, you don't have nearly as much control as you think. However, that doesn't mean that every Airbnb is bad, but it does mean the risk is higher than people realize. And the trade-off isn't just money, it's comfort, peace of mind, and in some cases, safety. And this isn't just an Airbnb thing. It happens anytime you make a big decision, assuming everything will go smoothly. That's why I'm always big on slowing decisions down. And so if you're buying a home, I've got a free home affordability calculator linked below. And if you need help finding a trustworthy realtor and want to buy or sell in 2026, I can connect you with someone in your area. Both of the links to those are in the pinned comment of this video. Because the truth is, avoiding regret usually starts before you commit, not after something goes wrong. Now that you know why people regret staying at Airbnbs, I want you to learn about crazy mortgage payments and how to avoid them. Check out this video right here.